Hey everyone, welcome to Youth Bombs. My name is Craig,
I am Coleman.
I'm Olivia.
and we're the voice of young conservatives in Alachua County. We want to give a special shout out to our friends in the Instagram Live audience, and today we're covering RFK Jr. dropping out of the presidential race. This is certainly going to have a big impact on the polls and on the race itself, especially in these key swing states where the race is tight and the margins are thin. How do you guys feel about this?
Personally, I think it's great. I kind of had a feeling that Trump was appealing to more moderate voters, especially since I think people are socially really fed up with what the Democrat Party has been pushing for these last terms that they've been in office. Even though they're continuously blaming Trump for it, they've been in office for the last 4 years pushing these policies. So I knew he was appealing to the moderates. I think this kind of solidifies it a lot more. And I really respect RFK Jr. I don't really agree with all of his policies at all, really. But I did acknowledge before he endorsed Trump, and especially now, that he actually believes in what he has to say and what he's promoting, which is rare for politicians, just in general.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a pretty upstanding guy, even like in his background, which is also really rare for politicians, even like on the Republican side. I think it's like really good news.
Absolutely, Coleman.
I'm happy. I'm a happy guy. I'm glad he did it. I guess what's unclear to me is like whether or not he actually dropped out because he's still on the ballot.
Right, I think people are confused about that.
But he's not going to be like campaigning formally on his own sake. He's going to be campaigning on Trump's sake now.
Right, exactly. So
effectively, he's not in the race, but people could still vote for him, I guess, right? Because he's on the ballot. Right?
in certain states,
Yeah,
he's
not
going to
all.
be removed from other states.
Yeah,
so
right.
it'll, depending on where you live, you're going to have some variance in if you see him on the ballot or not. But he has encouraged his followers to vote for President Trump, and all RFK Jr. supporters are welcome on the MAGA train. So let's go.
Yep, you're all welcome.
I think it's really interesting how he chose to endorse Trump, even though he is like on the liberal side for sure. And I think that goes to show, especially since he's so into like just telling the truth. Like he went on like Daily Wire podcast interviews, and because he just wants to just be talking to anyone about the truth of any situation and what he really believes.
Yes.
So for him to endorse Trump, I think that really shows how he believes that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, they're hiding something. They're deceitful. They're not honest. They're not pushing the policies that are actually going to better people. I think RFK wants to push policies that are actually going to better people.
Yeah.
So for him to endorse Trump this way goes to show that he must think that Trump and the people that he wants in his administration in advance, do exactly that.
Right, exactly. Not to mention, Harris wouldn't give RFK Jr. the time of day.
Nope.
And when he endorsed President Trump, she insulted him, insulted his follower base. So she doesn't want your support if you were planning on voting for RFK Jr. She thinks that you're wackos, while we welcome all RFK Jr. supporters to the Trump train. And I think that he'd be a great asset for President Trump to serve in the administration and help out on making America healthy again and combining populist forces to take on the elite.
Now, Craig, I guess it's important for the audience to know what is populism, because you hear it a lot in the media. Some people say it's like dangerous to democracy. But what is populism?
Right. So populism is a rejection of elite power structures that are harming our country at the expense of the many for the benefit of the few at the top. It's about putting the people first and fighting for American values, fighting for our jobs, fighting for our nation, fighting for our border to make America safe, wealthy, and healthy. So that's what populism is about. It's a rejection of the globalist establishment and a fight to save our country.
Think populist Republicans as like for the populace, for the population.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good way to remember it. Yes.
Now, looking at the numbers, I'd like to dive into that a little bit.
All right, give us
So,
the numbers.
one poll by JL Partners showed before RFK Jr. dropped out, 51% of his supporters would vote for Trump. 26% would vote for Harris, and 23% were undecided. Given those numbers, if you plug them into the Real Clear Politics average of Arizona, you turn a 1-point Harris lead into a 1-point Trump lead. Now, it could be bigger than that for Trump, given that RFK Jr. has given the endorsement, and that will persuade more people from the RFK camp to vote for Trump. But it's encouraging nonetheless. Do you both see this as something that could swing these key states?
Yeah, I do actually, because I think that a lot of people didn't really want to vote for Harris. I mean, a lot of Democrats even said how they didn't even really like Biden the first time he ran.
Yep.
And they don't really like Harris, especially people who are pro-Palestine and very deeply support that cause. They really blame the Biden-Harris administration for what's going on.
Yep, Genocide Joe and Killer Kamala.
Exactly, and they swarmed the DNC, as well as people complaining about the migrant issue. They also swarmed the DNC just as equally. So I think that people were really reluctant to vote for Harris, but they really did like RFK Jr. It's just that when you hear that someone's an independent, you just don't necessarily vote for them because you just don't really see them as becoming the president.
Well, yeah, it's a matter of, I think some people just think well, that guy can't win.
Right. But now that he's endorsing Trump and is kind of aligned himself with that whole campaign and his presidency, I think it shows a lot of Democrats who were wavering on who to vote for. Now maybe they will vote for Trump because they're like, oh, well, RFK Jr., we trust him and he trusts Trump and, we're sick of these Democratic policies. We didn't like the administration.
Yeah.
Accumulation of a bunch of things.
Exactly. And RFK Jr. also shows the corruption in the media and in our political system itself. The Democrats shut him out of the primary. As President Trump said, RFK Jr. may have been able to beat Biden in that primary due to his vast unpopularity.
Yeah, if it was fair, Biden would have gotten crushed by Bobby Kennedy. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And additionally, networks like CNN and others shut him down in his speech endorsing President Trump the other day.
Yeah, they cut the feed.
Right, they cut the feed because he was criticizing the media and them silencing him and blocking him out from having a voice and having his supporters have a voice on the American political theater. So it just goes to show that the media has an agenda and they don't like RFK or his platform or his supporters.
Yeah, I think on the note of, I think it's important to talk about what he does stand for, the whole Make America Healthy Again. I think for context for the viewers, he's the founder of what's called the Children's Health Defense Fund, which I guess this is basically an alternative to this CDC. But here, what he's trying to advocate for is, healing and fixing the chronic health epidemic of children. That's his winning message here. It's can we get America healthy again? Can we make it so our own children and then rising adults are actually physically able to serve in the military they're supposed to protect, let alone actually value the nation that they're supposed to protect in the first place? So that's part of it. Again, as far as where his advocacy goes, as far as that realm goes, it's about the childhood vaccine schedule. It's about the corruption within the big food that it's a little bit too complicated to get into right now. And then just general how the choices to make food cheaper have actually cost us in the health sphere, whether it's the industrial oils like seed oils or the the GMOs or the pesticides like glyphosate, Roundup, etc. So that's his whole ballpark here. Now, where he's gonna actually work in the Trump administration, this is, I think, what did Trump say? He said he did initially say, like, in his Agenda 47 that he wants to put like an independent, committee in charge of investigating, this childhood disease, chronic disease epidemic. And now, before the endorsement came out, but now that the endorsement is out, guess who's going to be in charge of that? RFK Jr., which is great. And another thing that's great, that I'm sure RFK Jr. is going to be involved in, is another independent committee that's going to be in charge of investigating. This is not related to health, but this is equally as important. Independent committee that investigates presidential assassination attempts or successful presidential assassinations.
I didn't realize all that about his stances. That's really cool. So if you wanted RFK Jr. to tackle those issues, definitely vote for Trump because he'll be in charge of the committees that actually tackle those issues.
Right. And so, like, we'll finally be able to get some answers about for instance, that we'll work backwards. The Trump assassination attempt, the Reagan assassination attempt, the Kennedy assassination. I think there's a few others that I'm missing, but those are the three most famous ones at this point. So if you want answers, who you have to vote for.
Right. Exactly. And another thing regarding American health, there is a reason why we have the diabetes epidemic, obesity skyrocketing, autism skyrocketing. It's sad to see, and something needs to be done about it. But right now, the establishment wants to ignore these problems. And certainly, seed oils, which used to be used in machines 100 years ago, very well could be a part of the problem. It's something that needs to be looked into because the American diet is not necessarily healthy, given that we compare it to Europe and people have lower obesity rates there.
I think a lot of people view it as a nonpartisan issue too, which is really appealing because a lot of people are becoming more aware of it, especially with online social media, just gathering information here and there. I think people are becoming more critical and rightfully so.
Absolutely. Any closing thoughts, Coleman?
I'm hoping this makes people more enthusiastic than ever to vote for, our guy, President Trump. And I'm glad the general strategy I'm seeing Trump going for here is like trying to get as many people that are at least in any respect dissident to the establishment blob as getting them all on the same page. That way we can at least, sure, we may not agree on the social issues. Like, for instance, I see all the time, on, I guess, social media and even within my own, friend groups where people are like, but Trump is, he's not like pro-life anymore. What happened? Or it's like, or for instance, like people like can't really agree on like other aspects of like Trump policy specifically, whatever. But the main issue here is like the main premise of America is run by the people. Unfortunately, you don't have that anymore right now. You're run by a coalition of deep state bureaucracy and corporate and politician interests that are not your interests. So if you want that to change, like that, before you can even get to like talking about the social issues, you need to be able to have power again as the people. That was Trump's original message when he got elected in 2016. It's like, I'm giving power back to you, the American people. He said that in his inauguration in 2017. So let's just get the first step done, then we can debate the ideas.
Exactly.
So
For
vote
sure.
Trump 2024.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, thanks everyone so much for watching. We really appreciate it. We upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 p.m. If you have any questions or would like to get in touch with us, feel free at youthbombs@alatrarepublicans.com. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.